Hi, my name is Karen Margrethe Larsen, and this presentation is for the Oceansides virtual meeting and for the session Ocean Transport Moorings. And my presentation is primarily on the Greenland-Scotland Ridge Transport Moorings. First, a short introduction. I'm a physical oceanographer and I'm based at the Faroe Marine Research Institute in the Faroes, and the Faroes are located on the Greenland-Scotland Ridge. I've been involved in TMA work since the late 90s, and since December 2012 I've been a PI for the Faroe Current and Faroe Bank Channel TMAs, and these are both part of the Greenland-Scotland Ridge TMA. The Greenland-Scotland Ridge TMAs were initiated in the Nordic Woes project back in the mid-90s, and for many years these TMAs were funded via EU funding. And the most recent EU funding was provided by the Thor and Naklim projects, where the Naklim project also funded instruments. Since then, the Greenland-Scotland Ridge PIs have not been able to find joint funding within the EU, although there have been calls on Arctic observations. Helstone was a partner in the Atlantis project, but here the other Greenland-Scotland Ridge institutes were third parties within this project. The Atlantis project funded instruments for oxygen observations for the deep moorings in the Faroe Bank Channel and in the Denmark Strait. In the Atlantis project, the Greenland-Scotland Ridge partners were involved in the task on transport mooring arrays, and one outcome from that task was a one-stop web shop, which is located on the Oceansides webpage. This slide here shows the Greenland-Scotland Ridge information, or part of the information. More details can be found on this page here, and also volume transport from the transport mooring arrays can be downloaded. If we take a closer look at the Greenland-Scotland Ridge TMA on this web page, we see that it consists of 5 smaller TMAs. There are 3 inflow arrays: the Iceland inflow north of Iceland, the Iceland and Faroe inflow between Iceland and Faroes, and the Faroe-Shetland inflow running through the Faroe-Shetland Channel. And these are the Atlantic water inflows indicated by the red arrows. And then there are 2 overflow outflows: the Faroe Bank Channel overflow and the Denmark Strait overflow, indicated by the blue arrows. After several years of observations, an optimization process was initiated in the Naklim project, and this continued as a task in the Blue Action project. And one outcome of that task was a poster which was presented at the Arctic Observing Summit online earlier this year. And here I show you the head of this poster, and the poster can be found on the Arctic Observing Summit webpage and also on Zenodo. So on this poster we show our suggestions for observations of the 3 inflow arrays, and I show you here an example of the Iceland-Faroe inflow array, or the Faroe Current TMA. And here we suggest that this array is monitored by satellite altimetry, 1 HCP mooring, 2 to 3 PIS moorings, and 3 to 4 annual CDD surveys. And of these observations here, only the HCP mooring is currently registered at the JCOMMOPS webpage. So how does the Greenland-Scotland Ridge TMAs look on the JCOMMOPS data webpage? And I show you here a screenshot of the Greenland-Scotland Ridge, where the platforms are indicated by red or green dots, depending on if they are active or inactive. And if we start with the inflows, then we first notice here that the Iceland inflow is not registered on the JCOMMOPS. The Iceland-Faroe inflow is active. The Faroe-Shetland channel inflow is inactive. The Faroe Bank channel overflow is active, and the Denmark Strait overflow is inactive. So how can we engage the PIs and the data managers for the transport mooring arrays, not only on the Greenland-Scotland ridge, but also for other TMAs on JCOMMOPS? And how are new sites included? So how can engagement be improved? Well, I suggest to send an introduction to new PIs, because I missed this myself when I became a PI for OceanSites platforms. And this introduction could include general information like what is OceanSites, the name nomenclature used, data types accepted, etc. And also guidelines for adding new sites, preferably by showing a few examples. And also guidelines for updating a platform. This was distributed earlier and was very useful for me this year. A lot of this information already exists on the web page, but I think it can be gathered into a kind of a handbook, and we should try to update it more frequently. I was also asked to say a few words about how the TMAs would look like in 2030. And here again, I use the Greenland-Scotland ridge as an example. First of all, I would hope that they are all active, the transport mooring arrays that are on JCOMMOPS, not only the Greenland-Scotland ridge, but also all other platforms. Secondly, I would hope that the Iceland inflow would be funded and active on this web page. And then when it comes to data gaps, the Greenland shelf is a large data gap that I hope would be active by 2030, and also the Scotland shelf. When it comes to the Iceland-Faroe inflow, we could perhaps deploy a lot of moorings along the ridge itself, but maybe that's too much. But certainly I would hope that we would have our suggestions with HCP and PI's moorings along the transit north of Faroes. Also, I hope we can include new technologies like gliders, and also that we measure more essential ocean variables, for example, from gliders. Thank you for your attention.